In addition to the regular speed build that I was going to put together for the Baneblade Tank tracks here, I wanted to go ahead and run through exactly how I did it with some comments just so it's clear. Because when you go to build a tank, I think the tank tracks are one of the most challenging aspects of the build. So you can see what I came up with here. I got a bit of a profile on each of the tank treads that I'm happy with. This happens to be right now 100% styrene, and it bends pretty good, and I think it will look quite nice on the finished product. So it'll fit in there like that. Obviously it'll sit down a little bit on top of the wheels. Haven't quite figured out how I'm going to do the wheels yet. So let me go ahead and show you exactly how I built this. The first thing that I needed to come up with before I even figured out how to build each of the treads here or even how to hold them together structurally was I needed something to space them out evenly and hold them all in place while I glued it up. So what I came up with was this little jig here, and you might recognize these. Between here are just regular craft beads. So I found these at Michael's, and these are 8 millimeters across the side, or 0.31 inches, and they were just about the perfect size for what I wanted to build. So to make this little jig, all I did was I cut up some rectangular pieces of 20 mil plastic card here, and then just set it up in my little building jig, and I just alternated a bead with the plastic card, and then I went ahead and used the plastic weld to hold the whole thing together. And then for additional support, I went ahead and super glued this strip of 60 mil styrene across the back just to hold everything in place. So to put this in the jig, I just basically set it down, and then I've been using a couple of flat magnets to hold it on the bottom and kind of tack it in place. So I'll go ahead and show the speed build video now, and I'll make some comments and go ahead and show you exactly how I went about building this. So the first thing I did was I took strips of styrene, and I found the styrene that had a little bit of a texture to it. As you can see, this has raised edges on the profile here, and what I did was I cut this down. I alternated cutting on the low spots, so what I ended up with was a strip that had 2 raised sections, and you can see that that's the profile on the side here. And then I wanted to give it a little bit more depth, and I kind of wanted to give it an additional step. So you can see on the end there, if you look real close, I'm hoping it comes out on the camera, there's an additional step. So what I did was I took strips of the 60 mil polystyrene, and I went ahead and bonded down the strips of the metal siding styrene on top, and that gave me a nice stair-step effect on the edges of the tiles here. And the size that I used was the 1.25 inch spacing on these, so it's an 1/8 inch spacing, and you can see all the information if you want to go try and find this yourself at the store. So then once I had that done, I went ahead and used my guillotine paper cutter, and I really like this tool. I picked this up at a yard sale. I'd look on Craigslist or anywhere you can. These are kind of pricey, so try and find one used. But what I like about this one is, as you can see here, it's got a guillotine fence, so you can go through and chop up the material pretty quickly, and the fence will ensure that all your pieces end up the same size. And then we will go ahead and use the spacer tool here, and as you can see in this speed build, basically I've just got that sitting on my magnetized work aid there, and just went ahead and laid down all the small pieces of tread, and then laid that's 0.15 mil strip that I laid across the back of it. And then you just go down and apply the plasti weld, and you're good to go. And what you'll end up with is this very nice tank tread, and very quickly to produce. And the only other thing that I'll mention, the inside here was looking a little plain for me. I'm not sure if I'll be able to actually see it when I go to put it together, but what I found was at Radio Shack I found this product called a Quick Strip, and these weren't very expensive. These ended up, I get them on clearance, so it was a really good deal. But I found these on eBay. I found them all over the place actually online, but you can see this is what they look like. And what I think I might do with this is one I've been playing with, trying to figure out what adhesives are going to hold it. But I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and glue this to the back side so that it kind of has some sort of look that there's a mechanical interface there. I just haven't figured out if it's worth my time. I got to get the wheels built because I'm not sure you'll be able to see that detail depending on how close this tank track ends up. Most of the photos I've seen online, the Baneblade tank track sits pretty close. So maybe back here at the back or at the front you might be able to catch some of those details if I choose to put this quick strip, if I glue it down here. So stay tuned, see exactly how I pull that off on the inside. But in the meantime, this is something that you can do yourself that will come together very quickly, and you'll have an excellent tank track for your models. I think once you got the tank track done, I think that's the hardest thing to build on any of these tanks here. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe.